All right, we are here with a member of one of my favorite bands, Exile, and JP's here. Nice to have you here, JP. And both Brian and I are big Exile fans, but you guys have been together for just 2 or 3 years now, right?
2 or 3 eons, it seems. It's that we started in 1963, believe it or not. I was 14, in case anybody wants to do the math, but
yeah,
I'm the only guy that from that, from the inception of the group that's still here. But the other 4 members, the one that came in last has been here since 1979. So that, the 5 of us have been here. We've been together 40 some odd yees. So, we know each other pretty well.
I guess you would.
Probably a little too well.
So how has things been now that we're in this COVID era? Not really touring much, and not, the shows aren't really happening very much. How are you faring with all that?
Well, there are the obvious negative effects with no shows and just personal things with not being able to see family and everything that goes with it. Been some positive things too. I've written over 50 songs since March, and I haven't written 50 songs probably in the last 6 or 8 years. So, that's one of the good things that have come from it. Well, it remains to be seen if it's a good thing. I don't know how good the songs are. It's not for me to judge, but it's at least I feel good about it, And I'm doing some couple of production projects on some regional people here in Kentucky. And that's kept me busy. Fortunately, there are projects where it's just 3 of us that go in the studio, a couple of guys I trust, and I'm playing all the instruments on both these projects, so it's not like we have a studio full of people every day.
Yeah.
So I've actually stayed very busy, which knock on wood.
Yeah, that's good. It's different for sure. I mean, I think with this COVID thing, it's with all the negativity as far as and not being able to tour, not being able to do all that stuff. But then you get some good stuff from it, like writing 50 tunes and, spending a summer at home, which you probably haven't done for a while. And,
that's true. My yard looks good.
Yeah.
My yard looks so excellent this year.
So how many dates would you be doing a year now with XO?
Oh, probably about 70.
Oh, that's
and
good.
We've done 3 since the middle of March, and the only reason we were able to do those is because they were private corporate dates, and they were well distanced, and all protocols were observed for everyone involved. And I wish there had been more of those, but we can, this day and time, we'll take what we can get.
Yeah, exactly. Now, go ahead, Brian.
I got some fond memories going back to my teenage dance years. Kiss Me All Over had a whole different meaning to what I knew about it as a kid, but I certainly learned real quick. And then followed your career all the way through being in the country music industry. And I was telling Darren a few months back, I was watching Larry's Country Diner. You guys were on there, and boy, you sounded exactly the same as you always sounded. It sounds great.
Oh man, thank you. I really appreciate that. That's important to us. I've seen so many acts that have been around a long time, and I can slowly watch them get bored with their music over the years, and the music, in some cases, morphs into something that you can't really understand or grasp anymore. And as a fan, it kind of throws me off. It turns me off a little bit. And that kind of the way we look at it is we try to look at it from our own particular fans' point of view. They're there and they spent money to see you, and they want to hear what they came for. We're having more fun now than we ever had in our lives playing music. We really are. I don't know how we've kept from killing each other, over the years, but I guess we're just really lucky in that we have 5 guys who just sort of know how to band. We've never had anything resembling a knockdown, drag out argument, which you hear about about so many bands, and but we're lucky in that respect. We love each other and respect each other, and we've missed each other since March. We really have. I mean, that's hard for a 70-year-old guy to say, but I've missed my old friends. It's like we're like family.
Yeah, you would for sure. I watched the same show as well. I saw Larry's Country Diner, and you guys came on. It's like, oh, great! I can't wait to see this. And man, the vocals were just stellar. I mean, just great. The harmonies were fantastic. I mean, the playing is always great, but yeah, the vocals were just kind of just blew me away. It's like, oh, this is going to be good, and then it just over exceeded my expectations. So, which is great.
We that's been the thing that we've really kept the most focus on is our vocals, because I think if we had a signature to our sound, I think it would probably be our harmonies.
Yeah.
So we really try to stay on top of that. We record ourselves really often when we play live, and painful as it is, we play it back when we're going down the road to another town on a bus and critique ourselves and we could do better here. This needs a little work, and I'm just thankful we still have the energy for it, But but thank you. I really appreciate that very much.
And that's great to hear that, you listen to board tapes, and after this long performing and being on the road, it's so easy just to kind of phone it in and here's another show and it was great, but to be able to take that time and listen through the set and figure out ways to still make it better. That's why you sound so great. I mean, it's
well, thanks. We get paid well for what we do, and it's important to all 5 of us to at least try as hard as we can to earn that.
Yeah.
And if we should walk away from a show knowing that, anybody gave 75%, then it's going to be discussed.
Yeah.
But, amicably.
Yes. We know those discussions are always great.
I'm just glad we could still talk to each other at all.
Yeah. Now, as a band, you guys really are not like all bands where the fact where you were the guys who played on all your albums pretty well, right? And yeah. That's what it's great when you have a situation like that, and then you go to see a band live and it sounds just like the album, like it should. It's because you guys played all the parts. I mean, it was really you guys. So not every band has that opportunity.
No, we're proud of that. Over the years we've had a few guests here and there.
Yeah.
But they didn't play anything that we would try to fake live, or and none of what the songs they participated in ever ended up being a radio single. So, we were kind of safe in that area. We had Ricky Skaggs to come in and play on a couple of things early on, and Lee Greenwood came in and did a wonderful sax solo on one of our records on, I think it was our first country album.
Oh, cool.
But no, it's important to us to have it sound like what people expect, and it's sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes you've been playing a guitar lick for 35 years, and in the back of your mind, there's a better way to play it.
Yeah.
But you just have to play it, like people are used to hearing it. And we're just thankful that there are any people there at all, so.
Oh, I'm sure. There's lots of fans out there.
Tell me about transitioning from the rock and roll world in the country. Now, how did that happen?
Well, it happened kind of gradually. Kiss You All Over was in 78. And by probably the end of 79 or the beginning of 80, we realized that we had no support left from our record label. And that things were pretty dire. We had released 3 or 4 singles. They were obligatory releases from the label with no support at all. And in the interim, we started having some country artists to cover our songs, to record our songs. Alabama cut 2 of my songs, Take Me Down and Closer You Get, which were contained on one of our pop albums in that interim period, we were talking about.
Yeah.
And then
those are big hits too for Alabama. Those are big songs.
Yeah, they were. Those were the biggest records as a writer I ever had.
Yeah.
And I started getting, a few more album cuts from Nashville, and it just sort of occurred to us that maybe, that we were in the wrong field of music, and we were getting some buzz, from Music Row, some calls, and so we decided, in lieu of just giving up and going home, that we were going to try to fashion ourselves as a country act. And it was tough. It was hard for a band named Exile that had a song called "Kiss You All Over," to really open a lot of doors in Nashville. It was still kind of closed, there a little bit in that respect. But we kept at it. We finally met, the right people, and it, it happened for it. It happened pretty quick once we made that first country album. We released 1 single that made it up in the 20s or 30s, and then right on the heels of that, we released a song called "Woke Up in Love," which went straight to #1 for us, and we had. Following that, we had, I think, 9 or 10 consecutive #1 singles. So it was, it was the right move for us.
Sounds like it.
Yeah, and really a fresh sound for country music. It really wasn't anybody that sounded like you guys.
Well, I think part of that is the whole self-contained thing. We didn't sound like Nashville records because we weren't Nashville session players, and every other record you heard in those days was that, was that. And I'm not disparaging that. I love the session players. Nobody intimidates me more than those people. They are so wonderful.
Was it difficult going in and doing a country album? Did you think that you maybe weren't country enough, or you're trying to be too country? Did it fall into place pretty easily?
Well, we had a bit of confidence because so many other people have been cutting our songs.
Yeah.
We might have had a bit of a different look with the lyrics. We couldn't do "Kiss You All Over," anything like that, but we saw ourselves as a band who basically wrote positive love songs.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we stuck with, and we just kind of were the same band. We just changed the lyrics a little bit and put an acoustic guitar on everything, and all of a sudden we were Exile, the country act.
Yeah. And no steel, no fiddle.
No steel, no fiddle. We did have Ricky Skaggs to play fiddle a little bit on one song, but no, we didn't. We didn't have anybody who could play that, and we wouldn't have been happy, I don't think, with that. No. It not that we didn't love that sound, but it just wasn't us.
Yeah, exactly. So let's zip back just a few years when you first kind of got going. You were 14 when you joined the band. So what was that band like when you joined when you were 14?
Pretty much a cluster. That's the way I can put it. Those days you didn't have any guitar tuners, and you didn't have anything, but yeah. we did have the joy of playing together, and just the raw energy for it. We weren't very good, but we all loved what was coming out of radio. The top 40 in radio, which was in those days was almost formatless.
Yeah.
We'd play anything from Buddy Holly to Wilson Pickett to James Brown to Sonny James to Marty Robbins, and nobody thought anything about it, Yeah. And we tried to make ourselves a danceable group, a band that played songs that people could dance to.
Yeah.
We felt like we could get more work that way. And really at first, we just kind of looked at it as a way to make a little money, a little pocket change, and meet a few girls, and
yeah.
Neither one of those really worked out, but we really enjoyed it, and we started getting a little following, and I just drove by the place, the first place we played. It was a picnic shelter in a city park in a town called Richmond, Kentucky, which is right down the road from where I live now.
Wow.
I had to go over there for, another reason. And I drove right by the place, and right there it was, man, 60, I don't know, 57 years ago. 57, going on 58. The place is still right there. We got upstaged by a fight broke out. I remember very well. A fight broke out. We got upstaged by that. It's not that there were that many people watching us anyway, but things really got exciting when the fight broke out.
Yeah. As long as the fight wasn't in the band, that would.
No, it was in the audience. Thank goodness. Bands usually have political immunity. I don't know why, but usually nobody touches the band.
Yeah, that's true, isn't it?
This is a good thing.
Yes. So, where'd you obviously, playing throughout high school and doing that? Where'd you feel that you've made your leap from being a high school and a band that played music that people wanted to dance to something that you felt was more serious and doing your own music and writing songs and all that stuff? When did that happen?
Yeah, that's a pretty easy one. We were playing in this college bar in that same town I was telling you about, Richmond, Kentucky, and a lady who lived in LA and was home. She was from Kentucky, and she came home for Christmas. She lived in a town near where we were, and she worked in Dick Clark's office in LA.
Oh.
And she just happened to show up where we were, just by chance. And she liked us, and she approached us after and asked us if we'd be interested in working on one of Dick Clark's Caravan of Stars, is what it was called. Mm-hmm. And we were like, duh, yes, hell yes. So I mean, one thing led to another, and just a few weeks later, really, we were on this Dick Clark Caravan of Stars tour. As the opening act, we did some really strange amount of minutes, like 12 minutes or something like that. And our job was to do that 12 minutes and then be the backing band for all the single artists that were also on the tour. It's a big package tour. Yeah. So, we were there. We would, our first show, we didn't know what to expect, really. Our first show, we I think it was in Detroit. We got there in the afternoon, and the single acts would show up. They'd come back in the dressing room, and we would rehearse their songs. They did like 2 or 3 songs a piece. One was B.J. Thomas's, when he first had I'm So Lonesome I Could Cry. Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini. Freddie Cannon. Tommy Rowe. We ended up doing like three separate tours. I'm just telling you some of the ones that were involved. But that was our job, was to back them too. And in most cases, the closing act was Paul Revere and the Raiders. And they were just white hot. I mean, they were a huge act, and we played all the big arenas.
Obviously, that was probably a pretty big launching pad for you guys. Did that create some label interest from doing that?
Yeah, we didn't really have any success on a national level, and then we had a little bit when we met Tommy James. We did a show with him in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, and he liked us. And he was branching out into producing, by then. He had been, very successful with all of those huge hits he had. And he said, I like you guys, and I'd love to record you. I've got this song that I think would suit you. It was a song called Church Street Soul Revival. And he said, come to New York and we'll cut that, and we'll cut whatever else you want to cut, So a few weeks later, we were out of our previous record deal by the time. So we went up there and we spent like 24 solid hours in the studio with Tommy, recording these 2 songs, and went back to Kentucky. And a few weeks later, he had us on the strength of the song and who he was. He had us a singles deal with the big label, Columbia. And they released that song, and it got quite a few ads, and it almost hit, but it wasn't. We didn't quite get over the top with it.
Yeah.
And then the whole Tommy thing sort of went away, and it wasn't until a few years later that we met a guy named Mike Chapman, who had picked our box a tape box off his desk that a friend who happened to know him sent him, and he picked our tape out of all these boxes and wanted to come see us. So he came to Kentucky. We were playing at the opening of an apartment complex, and he came to this little clubhouse place and saw us play, and he wanted to sign us to a production deal, and he said, "I'll finance. I've got this song that I think is a hit, and I'll finance the recording of the song, and I when we get it cut, I'd like to take it to a few people around LA." He lived in LA at the time, and he came. We found a studio here in Kentucky, and we came and we cut it. And it was "Kiss You All Over." Yeah. And he took it back to LA, and he started going around meeting people, knocking on doors, and he ended up in Mike Curb's office. Mike had Curb Records at the time, and he was also at the same time was Lieutenant Governor of California. But I don't know if that was even legal or not. But Mike liked it, and Mike liked it well enough to sign us to a 3-album deal.
Wow.
Just on the strength of that song. We had not even cut anything else. So that's kind of how that whole thing with Kiss You All Over happened. That was in the mid to late 70s when all that started happening. And we stayed with Mike throughout the course of that whole run of that record deal for 3 years, and that's when we sort of, in that period, is sort of when the whole country thing came in, to our thought process. And I guess I've left a whole lot of details out, but that sort of brings you up to that part of our careers.
Yeah, exactly. It probably was hard to follow up. I Want to Kiss You All Over. I mean, that's a big song, and it'd be a tough follow up to that one.
That was the biggest problem of all. Yeah. You hit the nail on the head. Yeah. We released other songs that were big hits, but not here. They were big hits in West Germany and England and Australia and Japan and South Africa and all these other places. And we couldn't figure out, I mean, those people are people just like people here. And if people there liked it, why didn't people here like it? I think it was maybe a label support problem again. But I mean, I really had faith in those songs, but they were nothing like Kiss You All Over. They were totally different than that. And but it just didn't work out. We got to see the world, but it's but those record markets are they're so small compared to the market here.
Yeah, exactly.
I think West Germany is the second largest market. I believe it's still the second largest market, or West Germany.
Yeah,
should I say West Germany? But it was a tough time. It really was.
Yeah, because I imagine you feel like you're on top of the world with this big hit, and then probably feel somewhat defeated. We got great songs, everything is really great, and just getting over that hump of that other big song. It's like having something wonderful and a curse all at the same time.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know which was tougher, being told no so much leading up to Kiss You All Over, or being told no after the success of it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the music business, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, man. It's not for the faint of heart, that's for sure.
So what was touring like back then? Obviously you had that big hit. What was that like for you, considering, you were, not too long before that, you were playing for an opening of the apartment building, which is a great gig. I think that's
Yeah,
awesome.
exactly. Most of what we did early on, right when Kiss You All Over was happening, where it was opening slots.
Yeah.
The first one was with Aerosmith.
Wow.
And that was really interesting. It was really good, but it was really interesting. Hold on a second here. I don't know what's going on. Let's see here. Flash player. But it was great, and once again, we were back in the big arenas, and and they were gracious. They were screwed up a lot. They were high a whole lot.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't say that if they didn't openly admit it.
Yeah.
They wouldn't care if I said it. But Steven Tyler was especially warm to us. He'd hang out with us, and you got time for a quick Steven Tyler story?
Yeah.
He came in our dressing room one night before we were getting ready to go on, and he said, "You guys are from Kentucky, right?" And we said, "Yeah." And he said, "Well, do y'all know anything about moonshine?" And we said, "Well, yeah, a little." He said, "Well, can you get us some?" "Yeah, we could probably get you some, So we went. I think we did that weekend with him, and then we went home. And then the next weekend, somebody had, I don't know, forget who it was, somebody had procured 2 gallons of moonshine. And I remember very well. It was just crystal clear moonshine, and each one had a peach floating in it, right?
Oh, yeah.
So we took that and found him and said, "Well, here's your moonshine." "Oh, thanks, man. We're really going to enjoy this, So that was the first show of that run. Okay. We skipped a day and then played a show on the following day.
Yeah.
And he comes dragging in the dressing room, the same scenario. He comes dragging in. And he said, "Man," he said, what was in that And we said, "Well, it's just pretty much straight grain alcohol, when it's all said and done." We said, "Well, how much did you all drink?" And he said, "Well, all of it." So that's So, we said, "Well, I guess you learned something, did you?" Yeah. He said, "We sure as hell did." So that's good. We had a great big laugh out of that, and so did he. So did he. But they were very gracious. They were very gracious to us, and they were a great band, and still are. In my opinion, they're one of the best American bands ever.
Yeah.
They're just so different. They're just so talented.
Yeah, totally.
We were thankful to have that run. We really were.
So when you were doing the country stuff and started getting the your big hits right off the top, were you out opening did you get on a tour with opening for someone then, or were you kind of jumping into headlining?
No, it was kind of the same scenario. We did a lot of opening, especially with label mates, which makes sense. But we did a pretty lengthy tour with Ricky Skaggs. We worked quite a bit with Janie Fricke, who was also on the label.
Yeah.
And we were mostly doing, as far as headlining shows, we were mostly doing large bars or theaters, slightly smaller venues. We never really got up to the point in those days, or our whole country career really, where we could fill arenas when there weren't many country acts then that could do it. Alabama is about the only one that comes to mind, in those days. But no, we were back. We were working a whole lot, and it was great, man. I think one of the things that really kind of helped me to understand that we're really back now is the fact that we followed up that first #1 single, Woke Up in Love, with another #1 single. And that sort of validated, to us that, okay, maybe we have found ourselves, a more permanent home here. So, it really kept us busy, and we're very thankful for it.
Were you worried after that first country #1 that you were in that same situation you were last time, that, will the next one stick or not? I'm sure that was probably in the back of your mind.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That's why we were so relieved when, the next one just started racing up the charts.
That's awesome.
And we had a great record label, behind us. They really believed in us, and the guy that ran the label was kind of a left brain kind of guy, sort of thought out of the box quite a bit, and he helped us make it happen. It was great.
I was going through your list of albums this afternoon, kind of prepping a little bit, and it was great because I went through everyone. Oh, yeah, I had that one. Yep, I had that one. Yep, I had that one. Yep, I had that one.
That's great, man.
Yeah, it was great, and it was. I was surprised how many that I had. As soon as I seen the album cover, it's like, oh yeah, I had that one. Played the heck out of that one.
Wow.
It was it's neat too, because in that time you look back at album covers and they mean obviously a lot more than they do now. I mean, album covers nowadays don't, lots of times don't even have an album. They're just singles being thrown out. But they're certainly very recognizable, and you pick those. It's almost like a little time capsule from a section of your life, right? When you see certain album covers, for any type of music.
Absolutely, I feel exactly the same way. I mean, I can start. I've probably got, I don't know, maybe 500 vinyl records, in my collection, and every now and then I'll grab a stack of them and just start, looking through, and you can almost chronicle your life by looking at these records. It's really a lot of fun.
So you left Exile in 90. Is that when you decided to leave for a while?
Yeah, I had a young family then. My children were like 3 and 1, and they didn't really recognize me when I came home. That really bothered me.
Yeah.
I had, and we had done well for ourselves, and at the same time there were a few problems developing at our record label. There were our main guy was let go, and another guy came in who kind of wanted to make things his baby and wanted to start changing the way we did things. And it was just sort of a kind of a snowball effect that led me to make the decision that I was gonna step away. I wish I hadn't, but
yeah.
Gosh, we all have those, but I went out and did a solo record, signed with MCA Records, and did a solo record, and I really enjoyed the process very much. It was one of the greatest musical experiences of my life. I realized that I was just a creature, I was a creature of habit, and Les Taylor and I few years after that, Les Taylor and I, was in the band then and is, back now with the Fold.
Yeah.
We started, the other band had folded for a while, and Les and I went ahead and talked to them and got their permission. Nobody was interested besides Les and I to take an act called Exile out again with 3 support players, and that was hard. It wasn't Exile, and it was a great way to make a living. But we did that for a few years, and then finally, one thing led to another, and just sort of by accident, we reformed in 2008 to do a one-off concert for a friend who needed the help with medical bills. Mm-hmm. And we liked it so much that we said, well, heck, let's do another show somewhere. That was fun. So we booked another show a month later and liked it, and one thing led to another, and here we're back full blown within a number of months, and that was 12 years ago. So
wow,
it's been a sort of a fractured history, but it hasn't lacked for interest, that's for sure.
Yeah, I noticed in a lot of your CDs, you've had a couple or 2 or 3 of CDs where you've gone back in and redone and kind of rethought a bunch of songs and kind of remastered and did different versions of the songs. That's kind of a neat thing.
Yeah. In the interim where Les and I were gone, it's right after I did my solo record. I was, still wasn't in the band, and nor was Les. They did a record, did an album, and I think they did like a dance extended version of Super Love. I don't know if that's one of the ones you.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, they did that, and the daggone thing was a smash in clubs. I mean, these people line dancing their butts off to that one.
Yeah.
But since we reformed, we've done a few outside songs, cover songs, gospel songs, and we actually went in and re-recorded all of our hits. Mm-hmm. Our label, the label that owned the rights to those masters, wouldn't let us have those versions, to take out to our shows and sell online and all that. And so there was a provision in their contract that allowed us to re-record things if we saw fit. So we did that. We recorded, I think it was 12 tracks of our hits, including Kiss You All Over, all the country number ones and Kiss You All Over. Yeah.
Awesome. So we'll wrap up in a couple more questions. What do you find touring is like now compared to what it used to be? What do you find the biggest differences for you now when you hit the road and in this era than it was in the 80s and 90s?
I've almost forgotten. It's been so long since we played. I think probably the biggest difference is in us. We know that we're not relevant, at radio. Mm-hmm. And which stands to reason we're older and radio's younger, and we don't argue with that. But we don't play to huge audiences anymore. Thankfully, we have a booking agency that knows where to book us to where just about everywhere we play is full.
Yeah.
But we it's a bit different dynamic now, and I think the difference is in us. We enjoy what we're doing now more than we ever did at any point in our careers.
That's awesome.
and I guess that sort of in the back of everyone's mind is the fact that, you know, it's not gonna last a whole lot longer. It can't, you know, because our youngest guy is 70, and it can't be that many more years. Our motto, though, right now is we're going for 60. You know, we're at 57 years, as an act. So our current motto is we're going for 60. So that's what we're shooting for, and we'll see what happens after that. It's not that we're going to call it quits at 60, but we're just going to see where we are if we make it there. You know. Well,
there's a 60th anniversary tour being planned out. Yeah.
Not many bands can say that. You know, I mean, no. I don't for whatever that, you know, may mean, but you know, we're pretty proud of it. We are.
Well, we'll finish up on one last question. This is a question I like to ask all my guests, and obviously you've performed all over the world and you know, for many years. Do you have any venues or places out there, or a place that you've never performed at that you've always wanted to do a show at?
Oh, I'd love to do Red Rocks. We never played there in Colorado.
Yeah,
I'd love to play there. You know, everybody's always wanted to do Carnegie Hall. Of course, they'd never let us within 500 feet of that place, but yeah, Red Rocks is for me. You know, that would be a biggie. That would be a biggie.
The 60th anniversary concert, a perfect spot for it.
Yeah. I'll have to start putting some pressure on the booking agents here and see if they can.
That's good.
You know, maybe if maybe something will happen, and by the time we reach our 60th anniversary, we'll be like cool again, you know, or something or whatever.
Oh, that's great.
Can I plug our Christmas song?
You
bet. Can I just say a few words about it?
You bet.
Yeah, it's called Kid at Heart. We're excited about it. It is written by myself and a friend that lives across the road from me, and we cut it. I went in a studio here locally and cut the guitars and are you there?
Yep, we're here.
Okay.
Yep.
Can you see me?
Yep.
Okay, something happened. Anyway, I cut the guitars, and Les came in, and we did all the vocals, and I did all the percussion parts, and then had the files sent down to a studio in Nashville, have it mixed, and the guy mixed it, and then he sent it to the files to a mastering lab, and they mastered it, and you know, in about 2 weeks we had it back, and we're excited about it. It's called Kid at Heart, and I hope people will look it up. You know, you can find it on YouTube. You can find it on all the various places if you want to, you know, stream it, or if you want to download it, you know, iTunes, Amazon, Spotify, and all that stuff. So thanks for letting me mention it. I appreciate it.
Oh, absolutely. And what's the best way to stay in touch with what Exile's up to? Is social media? You guys?
Yeah, we're on. You know, we're on Facebook. Exile Official, I think, is what that's called.
Yeah.
I don't look at it much, but we have a Twitter page. We have an Instagram page. We have a website, which is exile.biz, B-I-Z, exile.biz.
Yeah.
And you can visit us on there, and you can make comments, or you can send pictures, or do whatever you like. And there's also a place where if you're looking for any Exile merchandise, it's all on there. We've even got Exile masks now.
Oh, cool.
But I mean,
you should say I want to kiss you all over on it.
Well, no, I'm not sure. I wouldn't dare wear one because it's got these big red lips on the front. I don't know if it says "kiss you all over" on it. That would be. I hope not, because that wouldn't be the right thing to say with a mask on. You know, with COVID going around. But anyway, yeah, we're easy to reach though.
Awesome. Well, I know both Brian and I, it's been a pleasure for both of us to have this time and chat with you. And we're both huge fans and enjoyed your music. And as we mentioned, sounding as good as ever. And we hope to see you on that 60th anniversary tour. I hope it comes to Canada.
I hope we can come to the Toronto area as part of that if it happens. And would love to shake your guys' hands. And I really appreciate you having me on here. It means a lot. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
A lot.
All right. Stay well and have a great Christmas season, and we'll see you again.
All right, guys. Thanks.
Thanks,
Appreciate
JP.
you.
Bye now.
Bye.